Finally! It's Christmas time again. I will get to finally sit back, relax, and do nothing but play various games and maybe cover the Winter Solstice event? Wait, what do you mean it's the middle of January? When did the holidays end? Okay, it took me a while to get started with the winter event, and a fair while to finish it, and I want to talk about it. I believe this is a very conflicting event as it has some really nice parts to it, but also some that honestly disappoint me. Since I haven't done a Winter Solstice rundown on my channel yet, let's start by making a rundown on the whole event, and after that, I will transition to my ranking. With that said, let's begin. The event comes with two highlights: the ability to craft one Winter Solstice rune and the Jewel of Eternal Scorn, both of which are must-have crit boosters. Additionally, when playing it for the first time, you can get a ton of collector bag items, including my favorite of the four-legged mounts, the Solstice Reindeer. The event isn't exactly free to start, as entry to the main event map costs an increasing amount of sugar beet depending on difficulty. While it does drop everywhere outside of the event maps, it feels like the chances of dropping more than one have been greatly lowered. Regardless, for the full event I could get away with using no more than 5000 beet, separated across the main event, the 3 Krampus mini-events, and the Frozen Field mini-event. The main event is probably the easiest one to profit from. While the bars have been slightly nerfed from last year by having some of the Festus coins and Frozen coins removed in favor of 6 Dragon Blood boxes, the event progression has remained unchanged. It took me just under 60 runs of Bloodshed to complete, while opening 4 and 4s per run, and eventually also spending some Festus coins on the 5 coin machine for faster progress. Of course, there's also the 10,000 progress for 50 Festus coins machine, which is a must open while using a tire for a decent time save and resource save. The Krampus challenges all have one thing in common. Despite the different bar lengths, they can all be completed in only 40 runs Bloodshed each. Granted, doing a single run takes a lot of running and not a lot of fighting. The resources given out in the progress bars can make up for the grind. Of course, the primary purpose of these 3 events is collecting the frost fragments, which are necessary for crafting this event's highlight, the Jewel of Eternal Scorn. For that, you have to go through the 2500 Festus coin grind in order to open the big present, which holds probably the most difficult jewel fragment to get, alongside some decent bonuses. This year's big present has been improved with an additional Dragon Blood box and a Golden Goose, as well as much more gold and various currencies. Here's the new edition of Winter Solstice 2024, a brand new mini-event. The highlights of this mini-event include 2 Spectral mounts, and that's it. The whole event takes place on a new map, which is more or less the same Winter Summit we've played for the main event for the past decade, with a few modifications to make life that much harder. For starters, the progress only drops on mini-bosses, which are scattered all over the map. The amount of progress you can get per run is random, as there are only 5 guaranteed mini-bosses across the entire map, and up to 9 additional Wolf Guardians, as well as 5 Amphoras, that only give as much progress as 1 mini-boss. In fact, the 3 versions of Krampus are so far from each other that even in the case they would drop event progress, which they don't, would still make them not worth going after. I didn't talk about it yet, but you have the opportunity to overfarm Krampus in each of the 4 mini-events for the low chance of getting ingredients towards the new, not quite mythic mount, the Fury of the Frozen Knight. The main way to secure getting one would be buying a bunch of packs to gain all ingredients, but the ability to eventually get it is still there. When was the last time you played GSO with sounds on? For me, the answer would almost always be sometime within the last year, and the reason is this specific event. I have to say, I really enjoy the festive jingles you can hear around the environment, which the event changes. All jokes aside, this has to be one of the better events for me, as it has its main rewards not being featured in the progress bars. This, paired with the over 1 month duration allows for plenty of time for completing each of the main and 3 mini challenges with time to take off as well. Additionally, this event has to take the number 1 spot for the amount of Draken it can provide, excluding Amphoris. On top of that, the big present has been indirectly buffed with the introduction of the Autumn runes, which makes it even more valuable once you open it. However, this isn't as easy as it was before. One downside of the 2024 edition has to be the bar changes. Remember, we lost 125 Festus coins and 40 Frozen coins in this year's bars, which makes the big present notably more difficult to obtain. In 2023, by the time I completed the main event and 3 mini events, I had obtained exactly 2,503 Festus coins, without even farming presents for the Festus coins exchange quest. Taking away just the 125 means spending additional time farming presents. This year I wanted to farm the big present on both of my characters, only to miss some mini events on my second character and end up 600 coins short, which I had to farm during the last few days. Another issue I have with the Winter Solstice Festival has to be the entire Frozen Field execution. Starting off, you don't even drop presents or Festus coins from the Frozen Field, thus you get zero benefit towards the big present, unlike the other 3 minis where you can farm not only presents but also directly drop coins from Kramparos there. The spawn order of the 3 bosses is already extremely annoying to follow, but on top of that, you get spawned at the center of the map, which also has one of the guaranteed spawnable mini-bosses removed for even less progress. While I personally don't mind the reward quality and could appreciate the mini-event for the 2 mounts alone, some reward placements genuinely confuse me. The attire is placed halfway into the bars, the gems are placed way too far to be worthy of consideration, and why are there more triangles of one type than there are of the other 2? Also, something I hope gets addressed within a month or 2 is the mount ingredients, or rather, them occupying 6 inventory slots when they can fit in the ingredient bag, as they serve entirely as ingredient for crafting a mount and nothing else. Regarding the Winter Tree, before the event I was really hoping it would never get introduced ever again. In its 2023 state, it had zero contribution or synergy with the Winter Solstice event, while also making every single person who played between December 21st and 25th extremely rich by just standing in King's Hill and clicking a chest every 3.5 seconds. With the 2024 edition, not only is the chest expensive to open, as you need 1 Amphora key per open and at least 6 to craft 1 gingerbread man, but the rewards have also been tuned down significantly, to the point the Winter Tree is irrelevant. Overall, I prefer the 2024 tree far more, as it doesn't actively hurt the game economy with its presence, while also still providing free value on the more populated servers, and also it finally has some synergy with the winter event thanks to its frozen coins drop. However, I would much rather have the tree gone altogether, as the gingerbread rewards have gone 2 steps back with both the removal of percent chances, which were the only way to gauge their value in the first place, combined with the Amphora key cost, considering Winter Solstice Festival is already an Amphora key hungry event. As per usual, I asked you guys on my community poll for the ranking of this edition of Winter Solstice. I haven't seen the final results as of writing the script, but I will place both the 2023 and 2024 editions into B tier. The Jewel is definitely impactful for every player, even though the Ice Meteor effect is highly inconsistent across all classes. Given its low power, I honestly like it when I don't need to see it coloring my screen, but I can understand that sometimes you need all the damage you can get. I believe Winter Solstice struggles with the fact that most of the rewards it offers come back every year, thus removing the exclusivity of multiple rewards. I would like to see more rapid shifts in the big present rewards, without nerfing the methods of obtaining Festus coins. On the topic of big present, the Kramparos challenges have become significantly easier since level 100 released, due to the ability to ignore the deadly timer by using either of your jumps to gain immunity frames and completely skip the deadly tick you would normally get after standing on a cold area for over 20 seconds. For that reason, I would like the mini events better if the area and timer get removed, as well as removing any solstice forms we have, as they already do nothing but blow the inventory bag. Also, I found 2 full Christmas events on my mage and didn't find a single gnome hat for the gnome pet. Thanks RNG, very cool. However, I have to express my disappointment in the Frozen Field mini event. It felt like it served no purpose. It didn't contribute to the main event enough, and I feel as though the developers know this and gave up on the event entirely by overlapping it with the Riot of the Rocketman. Discussing that event is a whole different can of worms, which I will talk about in a different video. Well, you made it to the end of the video. As always, if you disagree with my final ranking or have something to add that I skipped, feel free to do so in the comments, as long as you know how to be a decent human being. I believe you can do it. Also, I have begun working on the 2024 events tier list video, and spoiler alert, for that video I will have every event ranked in multiple categories, and the final ranking will be decided on a more strict system rather than just directly putting it in a tier and justifying what goes there without a direct comparison to another event. So, if you tell me something that I missed, I might consider moving Winter Solstice Festival somewhere else. Anyway, thank you for watching this far, and see you for the big game hunt grind.